43 of Descent Into the Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilizations to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that's, well, a little bit out there for some people, but it's one that's been talked about quite a lot, actually, in the past, and it is famous people who have potentially sold their soul to, let's just say, somebody with the little horns on his head, for success, in exchange for success and things like that. Now, of course, we are just talking about this because we love talking about everything, and all of this sort of thing is very interesting to us. So if you find it interesting as well, check us out on Instagram, on Twitter as well. If you've got a question to send through, or you've got a topic you want us to talk about, please let us know, because nothing is off the table. And so we're going to go through this list of people who are famous and allegedly or potentially maybe made a deal with the devil.
Yes. And from last week's episode, that popped up in my head a lot.
Yes.
Why did all of these people seemingly go in such a way at the peak of their career all at the same age?
Mm-hmm.
Was this something potentially that was in the contract? We'll never know. Right. We will never know.
We will never know, but we can speculate, and it's very fun to do that. I mean, it's just questions, isn't it? Like, we always have so many questions about life and issues and topics and people. So this is one of those big questions, I feel. I think you should kick off. Oh, sorry, you go. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, things aren't always what they appear to be. And, you know, there's different veils and different realms and different everything. So we can never say for sure. We just never actually know. We can think we know.
Yeah.
We don't actually know. We just know what we're told and what people want us to know.
Exactly.
So we're going to kick this off with Robert Johnson, because to me, he is the most, when I think of this topic, he's the person that comes to mind.
Right.
So it says, listed on Rolling Stone's list of the greatest guitarist of all time, Robert Johnson, 1911 to 1938, was such an astounding guitar player. Some people thought he gained his incredible skills through the supernatural means. Behind Faust himself, Johnson is perhaps the most well-known for making an infernal bargain. As the story goes, Johnson was directed towards a crossroads where he met the devil, who tuned his guitar and taught him how to master the blues.
I love the blues.
According to legend, the price for Johnson's gift was an early demise, which is speculated to be the fault of a jealous husband who poisoned Johnson after catching him with his wife. Even more than a century after his birth, Johnson's legacy is still plagued with rumors surrounding his end. Johnson was prolific as a musician, producing 6 records before he passed at the age of
27.
Mm-hmm. The location of Johnson's unmarked final resting place is still unknown.
Now, well, I love that you pointed me towards this one. I actually didn't know about it, but you write about it being a really good example, because somebody who's basically, crap beforehand and then becomes one of the best musicians in the world, that just doesn't happen overnight. And I can speak from personal experience, not with making deals with the devil, I swear, but playing the guitar, that shit ain't easy. And if you're horrible today, you're not just going to be brilliant tomorrow. It just does not happen like that. So this is a great example. I mean, I don't know about the about the whole shagging somebody's wife and getting poisoned for that. Maybe that's true. But getting your talent in that way overnight, very suspicious. Very suspicious.
Something happened, right?
Right.
Something happened, because a lot of people were like, wait a second, he wasn't that good yesterday.
Yeah.
What happened? Now, unless he was always that good and he was just, playing games with people, like maybe he was trying, maybe that was his plan all along. Come in, people think I'm not that great, and then all of a sudden, it's like pool sharks.
Right. Yes.
And all of a sudden everyone's gonna be talking about it. It's a great story. It's a fantastic story, legendary story.
Yeah.
So maybe, quite possibly, that's what it was. But if it wasn't, I got way more questions, way more
Yeah.
questions. And why doesn't anyone know where he's buried? If he was that fantastic, if he was that famous, if he, if his story is this fantastical,
Yep.
where is the dude?
Yeah.
Where'd he go? And why? Why don't we know where he is? Was that the family's decision to kind of keep it private and keep that for something just themselves? Fine, great. But still,
Right. Well,
like, just say the family wants privacy, so they're not telling anyone where he is.
yeah, but being completely unknown, what the hell? That's
Someone knows something. Someone
surely
knows where he is.
Surely.
There's records somewhere.
What my mind does is like, okay, so they've got him there, like in the coroner's office, and it's like, okay, yep, he's definitely dead. It's official. Yep, he's dead. Poof, and then he's gone. Like,
yeah,
nobody knows. Like, he didn't walk out of there, did he? Like,
no, he didn't. Did the devil come back and say thanks? So I was waiting for this.
Well, that's just it. I mean, my next question was going to be, what does I know it sounds like a silly question because the whole premise is, selling your soul to get what you want. But what are you actually giving? Like, when you say soul, when somebody says soul, what are you actually giving? Like, are you giving over your agency, your ownership of yourself, so that you're then becoming just a marionette puppet? Is that what it is? Right. I got questions.
Well, there are a lot of questions because, as far as I know and what I believe, my soul is the only thing that no one can mess with. It's mine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take it. You can't sell it. You can't do nothing with it. It's the only thing about me that you can't manipulate.
Right.
So, but what does that mean? Like, exactly. Like, I don't know, or what does it mean that you can't reincarnate? Like, are you going to that extent that you're like, okay, like this is my only chance that I'm going to do this thing, and then I'm never coming back ever?
Right.
Or do I have to go into service for said Beelzebub, for all of eternity?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what it means, nor do I want to find out.
No, I definitely don't want to find out, and I don't want you to find out either. But the Egyptians talked about there being components to the soul as well. I don't want to go into detail on that right now, but like there was different components that would go different places. One component would rejoin universal consciousness, and one component could be transferred from one person to another as like a reincarnation type thing. So does this deal block one or both, or some of those from happening?
Possibly.
Very interesting.
Quite possibly. Yeah, but 27.
Yeah. Oh, another one. Yeah. So the next one was another musician, and I will struggle with the name, so I apologize for that.
Yes.
Another masterful musician, Nicolo Paganini, was an Italian violinist born in the late 18th century. He learned to play the mandolin by age 5 and was composing music 2 years later. He struggled with alcoholism, of course, as a teenager, but by 22, he was known across Europe and became a musical star. At 23, he composed 24 caprices, music so difficult that years would pass before another musician could master the notes. One of his most famous pieces is titled Lestrade, something like that, which translates to Witch's Dance. Because of this title, many believe that Paganini had the ability to made a deal with the devil to become the greatest musician in the world. The claim was supported by his unmatched skills, which included the ability to play 3 octaves across 4 strings in one hand, a feat that is still considered nearly impossible. He once won a rare, very valuable Stradivarius violin by playing a piece so technical it was said to be unplayable without extensive preparation. Paganini played it on sight. Of course, there are more down-to-earth explanations for his seemingly superhuman skills, such as Marfan syndrome, a genetic mutation that results in elongated fingers, among other traits. Other theories offer Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as a possible cause, an inheritable disorder commonly known as rubber man syndrome. Thanks to Paganini's skill, and the eerie theories surrounding it, people both adored and feared him. Fans claimed that he was the son of the devil or the devil himself. Others claimed they could see a demonic figure just off stage guiding Paganini's bow. Eventually, Paganini had to publish letters from his mother to prove that he was born to human parents. The rumors even impacted him posthumously, as no church would give him a Catholic burial. His family ultimately had to make a formal papal appeal in order to give him a proper burial. Interesting. Now, just on that, we're just on the musical side of things really quickly. So, just those syndromes that they claimed there. So, the rubber man syndrome. That sounds so funny. Sorry. The rubber man syndrome and the elongated fingers. I'm sorry, but that will help. It's still not going to make you talented enough to be so talented no one could ever play what you played. That takes so much more than just rubber fingers or long fingers.
Right. It takes a brain that can figure it out. You know, some of these, I was just thinking that figure puppeteering his bow.
Mm-hmm. I
would have loved to have witnessed him play.
Yes.
And just to see, observe more than just him.
Right.
Observe more than just what's happening in front of me and what they want me to see. Because I got a lot of questions. Though he was, composing by the age of 7. Maybe he was just a genius and no one wanted to accept the fact that he was a genius. Were these people jealous?
Maybe.
There's a lot of questions there, but just the fact that even the church wouldn't allow him to have a service.
Yeah.
I like.
And
the thing is, when you look back at, we're going to go through a couple of these people and you're going to say, wow, and the church didn't give this guy burial after this guy seemingly sold his soul. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I understand in that era, in that century, they were terrified of voodoo and witchcraft and things that they couldn't explain. They were terrified of it. So being terrified of something that you don't understand, it makes sense. But who knows? That's knows? Just it. Maybe he was just the smartest person on the planet.
Maybe. But it's a very curious thought to think. And look, the church have been long documented at taking popular things for themselves to help promote the church. So if he was a genius, they could have said he had God's gift, right? The church could have said that he had God's gift. So why did they decide to go down the evil route? I don't know. That's probably another question.
I really don't know. But what the hell was I just thinking? It's gone. Never mind.
I'm sure it'll swing back around.
It may swing back around. But I was just thinking, his parents. His parents had to write a letter saying that, I could write a letter for anybody and say, they were born to me. Like, why am I so trustworthy?
You heard it here, people. Please write in if you need any letters about your parenting.
I'll write you a letter. If you need proof that you're human, I'll write you a letter. Like, that means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, they're so trusting in these people who are, calling themselves this guy's parents. They're so trusting in that. Like, when you're going to go so far as to say this guy sold his soul to the devil, but his I saw a letter written by someone and they said, no, he's not the son of the devil. It's fine. He was born to us. We're like, oh, okay then.
Oh, fine. Yeah. We're going to believe in the first place in, the devil in the first place. We're going to believe in that wholeheartedly. Not believe the guy, the man, like the violinist. We're not going to believe him. We will believe in the devil, but we'll definitely believe in a piece of paper. Like, that's it. It's on paper. What are you meant to do if it's on paper? How can you argue with it?
You have no choice but to believe it. No choice.
It's now official. It's on paper.
Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Unbelievable. So this next one, as we said before we started, it's going to be controversial. Don't know how many people are actually going to like it or not, but we didn't make it up. We're just going with what we are told here. Led Zeppelin. So it says the rock and roll genre has long been rumored to be under demonic influence. Yes, it has, unfortunately. As such, it is no shock that one of the most successful rock bands in history has been rumored to make deals with the devil. Guitarist Jimmy Page, known as one of the greatest guitarists of all time, stated, "My interest in the occult started when I was 15. I do not worship the devil, but magic does intrigue me. Magic of all kinds. I read magic in theory and practice when I was about 11 years old, but it wasn't for some years that I understood what it was all about." Page even had occultist Aleister Crowley's words, "Do what thou wilt," inscribed in the grooves of the original 3 vinyl, and later went on to purchase Crowley's old house. Though Page denies any demonic involvement of his own, he seems to believe that Zeppelin's frontman Robert Plant was visited by a possibly satanic power when he created their beloved track, Stairway to Heaven. This is what he said, Page said in an interview. "Robert was sitting in the corner, or rather leaning against the wall. And as I was routing the rest of the band with this idea and this piece, he was just writing. And all of a sudden, he got up and started singing, along with another run through. And he must have had 80% of the words there." And Plant corroborated. He said, "My hand was writing out the words. There was a lady in Shore, all the glitters is gold, and she's buying a Stairway to Heaven. I just sat there and looked at them and almost left out of my seat." Perhaps the fact that Plant didn't actually write the word stairway explain why fans have discovered satanic messages when playing the 4 album backwards. For example, "Oh, here's my sweet Satan, the one whose little path made me sad, whose power is Satan. He'll give those with him 666, and all of those fools who made us suffer. Sad Satan."
Wow.
Is that what it says backwards? I've never done
I've never done it. I've never played anything backwards before or tried. But I mean, that's a big one. Led Zeppelin, that's a huge one.
Massive.
But they seem to be so open about it and talking about it. Now, does that necessarily go towards or sound like a deal with the devil, or that just something appeared and gave him the words, gave him the inspiration for that song? I don't know.
Maybe he went into a meditation. Maybe it came down from, like, maybe it was in his ether. Maybe it was in his, and he just had to go grab it. Maybe maybe his heart and mind were coherent for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
This was the thing that came in, and that was the thing that came out.
Yeah.
The song was the thing that came out. There's a lot of people that say when they get really still and meditating, but then they open up their heart, and if they're not paying attention to what they're doing, but they're just focused on their heart, amazing things pour out of them.
Yeah.
Like, you can tap into consciousness.
Absolutely.
I've been trying. I'm working on it. I try every day to tap into it, and I get somewhere, but not there.
Right.
That could have been it.
Absolutely. Well, and
was he high? I don't know.
Oh, screw you, because I was just going to say it was the 70s. We heard all about the last week's episode. We talked all about the drugs and the things that were happening in the 70s. But the thing that gets my ears pricked up even more in that one is Aleister Crowley, because he is definitely a person who's known to worship the devil. And I also want to put this caveat there, is that when people say the occult, it's got a really synonymous name with evil, but the occult doesn't mean evil in itself. Like, there's all kinds of good things and positive things that can go under the occult as well. So it's not by default evil. So that's fine. Like, so if he's saying, I'm into the occult, cool. That doesn't automatically raise a red flag with me. But Aleister Crowley does, because he, in my opinion, not a good human. Somebody who, is and supports evil. So, supported evil. So, that one is a red flag for me. But yeah, geez, interesting to have, one, if not, one of the biggest rock bands ever at the top of this list or on this list. Very interesting. And look, we're not going into, the finite details of every single one of these. So, this is just about having a thought-provoking conversation. So I hope people out there listening, watching, may take an even deeper dive on some of these things that interest them. And if you do, let us know.
Or have you taken a deeper dive and you have something to tell us? What did you find?
Have you even descended into the wormhole on some of these, one might say?
Ooh.
It sounds like fun.
I like it. It does sound like fun. It does indeed.
All right. So next up is another musician, actually, and another name that I'll probably screw up. So Giuseppe Tartini wrote over 400 works over the course of his career, and unlike most of his contemporaries, he composed no church music, focusing instead on violin concerti and sonatas. The story of his alleged deal with the devil originates in his most famous piece, Devil's Trill Sonata. Tartini allegedly dreamed that the devil came to him, asking Tartini to be his servant. Tartini gave the devil his violin, who immediately began to play with such skill that he took Tartini's breath away. When the composer rose from his dream, he immediately wrote down the sonata from memory, and thus wrote the most popular piece of music of his career. Despite the sonata's success, the composer knew that the piece was still far from the devil's original rendition. What Tartini himself had written was, in his own words, so inferior to what I had heard, that if I could have subsisted on other means, I would have broken my violin and abandoned music forever. Now, there's a little difference there. Coming to him in a dream. That's an interesting one.
Yes, because with the first gentleman, his guitar, the devil tuned it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, he heard in a dream. Now, once again, I say, dream realm, did you tap into consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
And that was and how you saw it, like however the creature showed up to you, that was just your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And that was like a gift. The song was a gift from the consciousness. Like you were there, you were tapped in, you heard it, you remembered it, you wrote it down. So many people, like regular people I have talked to, that said, I dreamt about it and then I followed through on it. It was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
If you can remember your dreams, please remember your dreams and write them down.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man. Once again, something I'm working on. I'm working on remembering my dreams. But it was a dream, or was it?
Well, that's just it. He thought it was a dream. Maybe it wasn't a dream.
Felt like a dream.
Uh-huh. Good point.
We don't know.
Maybe it was reality, and it was just so unexplainable to him that he said it was a dream.
Yeah, it had to have been a dream.
Well, I always love that question in The Matrix, that Morpheus asked to Neo close to the beginning. Have you ever had a dream that you were so sure was real? I mean, yeah, it's a great question.
And it's so true. We've had this discussion where I had a dream, and when I came out of it, I told Stevie, I said, I will never know the difference between a dream and reality ever again. Ever. Yeah. It was so real. It was so real, and I could command things.
Yep.
And it was crazy. And it was in that moment that I'll never know the difference ever.
Right. Amazing. Like amazing experiences.
Yeah.
And I'm
crazy. I loved it.
Yeah. I'm grateful that you didn't command me when you came out of the dream, but you could command things within it, which is cool.
Yes.
And that's awesome. Yes. Like I've had some dreams where I can control some things, which is cool. But it really does make you question, or at least it makes me question, like, you know, is the dream world the real world? Is this the actual dream that we're in, like right now, doing this? So
We don't know.
we do not.
We have no idea. No
Nope.
clue.
None at all.
So this one, it was his perception that it was a dream. So that's what we have to go by.
Yeah.
Because it was his perception, his story, and how he says it. But at the same time, a lot of other questions around it. A lot. So this one real quick. And so I wanted to do this one because when you hear that the Catholic Church didn't want to give this other guy a service, this one is like, well, what? Why are we banning people who supposedly, made deals with devils when this character rocks up? Pope Sylvester II, a pope. The first French pope, or perhaps the most significant pope of his era, Pope Sylvester II, was known to be well versed in mathematics, mechanics, and astronomy. He's credited with inventing the pendulum lock and the hydraulic organ, as well as introducing Arabic numerals to the Western world. The rumors of his satanic deal-making only began after he passed in 1003. Rumors swirled that his greatest intelligence and inventive ability were a result of a pact with the devil. However, this was likely due to his regular contact with the Eastern world and the fact that he tried to root out corruption and bribery within the church.
I'm sorry I'm laughing, but the church, oh my, he was trying to, allegedly, of course we don't know the truth behind all this, but this based on what we're reading here. This is a guy who's trying to get rid of corruption and bribery, so bad things in the church, and the church does what? Oh, he's the devil.
Yep. We must rid him of the church.
Yeah. We must rid this good person of the church.
Right. He's calling us out in our shit. He's gotta go. This man's gotta go.
Oh, sorry. I just find that quite funny. But I mean,
yeah.
Again, like you said before, this was a time, 1000, the year 1000-ish, having contact with the East and Arabic nations and stuff like that. They would have thought of that as very odd, and being something like why is he associating with those kind of people? Right. Those are heathens and people who don't believe in God and stuff. So it kind of makes a bit of sense. I mean, I don't know. It's sort of, people can just be geniuses, I guess, too. They don't always have to have made a deal with the devil. Like, I haven't seen Einstein on the list yet. Nope. No Einstein. And he was a patent clerk as well. He wasn't a, astrophysicist his entire life. He was a patent clerk. So. Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the origin of how he came up with the theory of relativity. I'll be really quick because we want to get through this. But he was on an elevator, and he thought of an elevator as different reference points. So he went, okay, if I'm standing here on this elevator, and I'm not actually moving, like I'm not moving my body, but I am moving. So if I look at somebody out a window and see them going down an elevator, to me, they're the one moving. But to the person in the elevator, they're standing still. And it's the person up in the window that's moving. You see them going like this. So that's where he started his theory of relativity, about which point it is. To me, I'm still, but I'm actually moving. So in what reference point are we actually moving through the universe? And I think that was what originated it. But the better example that he gave, I think, was, a car and a person standing on the side of the road. If you're a person standing on the side of the road and you see a car fly by, then you go, that car's moving. That car's moving fast. But to the person in the car, you're just sitting still. Right. And the person outside is moving really fast. Because they go past your window. Yeah. So it's the relative point of view, and that's where his theories came from. And obviously it got a hell of a lot more complicated than that. But I always thought that was interesting, and this is from a patent clerk. So
And all you got to do is think of things differently, right? Because when you did that, I was like, well, yeah, when people fly, like you're sitting there for hours, you're not moving, but you've moved across, across the country, across the sea,
Mm-hmm.
across the world, but you haven't actually budged.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you moved.
Yep.
To everyone watching that plane's moving.
Yeah, that's right. And to the person in the plane looking down, the people on the ground are moving.
That's right.
Because you're still. It's interesting.
Huh.
It's a nice noodle
It
baker.
is interesting.
And it
is.
and it got into him proving, scientists went on to prove that time travel is possible, albeit very
oh, absolutely.
all very difficult, but possible.
Yeah, it takes a little bit more than a flux capacitor to be fluxing.
Damn it!
time travel.
I just got a Mr. Fusion on eBay. You tell me that thing's not going to work?
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Let's get a DeLorean. Let's try.
Perfect. All right. So this one, he openly talks about something. Openly.
He does. And we're back to another musician here, Bob Dylan. Yeah. Okay, so in a 2004 interview, famed musician Bob Dylan cryptically explained that he owes his success to a years-old deal. Interviewer says, "Why are you still out here?" Dylan says, "It goes back to that destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, long time ago, and I'm holding up my end." Interviewer, "What was your bargain?" Dylan, "To get where I am now." Interviewer, "Should I ask who you made the bargain with?" Dylan, "With a chief commander." Interviewer, "On this earth?" Interviewer, "In this earth and in a world we can't see?" And it doesn't give the other response there. But there's a YouTube video on that too, just showing that clip. And Dylan definitely alludes to it being the devil. Really, he does. Yeah, he did slip. Yeah.
He slipped in that moment. And I don't know. I like Dylan. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's always like, I'd love to know more though. I have a lot of questions for Bobby here because like, when did it start? Because he's always been good. Like, did he wake up one day and say, "Hey, I want to go be like one of the best musicians ever and have like all genres love me"? Like, I want to touch all genres and I want to affect everybody.
Yeah.
I want to affect everyone with my words. Like, he came at it, like, as far as I'm concerned, he came out of the gate good.
Mm-hmm. But
so when did he make this deal?
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Answers.
We need answers. We need answers. And I will put this out there. There are a lot of talented people in this world. Super talented people.
Yeah.
That we'll never ever hear about. Ever.
No.
We just know nothing about them because they don't get publicity. They don't get notoriety. They don't get fame. They never get noticed. But they're so skillful, maybe even more talented than some of these most famous people. And we never hear about them. So was it really, really early on for Bob Dylan? Like really early on for him? If this did happen, I mean, he said himself that he made a deal with someone
Chief
or
commander.
Something. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about the president of the United States, like
no.
So
the actual chief commander,
right? So it's interesting. It's interesting, and I think he said it himself. So how early on did this deal get made? Like, because like you said, like essentially, it feels like he was right out of the gate. He was good. Like, but how early did that happen?
Now, there's a documentary on him on Netflix, I think. I might go watch it.
I might too.
Because it goes back to his childhood, because his kid, Jacob, he wanted to do everything on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And he had some success with wallflowers and stuff, but he never got to dad's level. But he also wanted to do it on his own. Like, not a lot of people, he never used his last name. Like, he never really attached himself to his
Yeah.
father as, hey, I'm Bob's son, you have to treat me differently. He wanted to see if he could get there on his own. And yeah, he had success, but not the success that his dad had, of course, and
Right.
probably not the success he may have had if people knew who he was
Sure.
more
Yeah.
readily. If it was more readily available, people probably
Absolutely.
would have given more of a chance.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It really is interesting because he is good. I think his kid's got a great voice.
Yeah, I agree. And well, good on him though. I want to say that. Like, good on him for
Oh,
going off,
huge respect.
doing it by himself and not wanting to use that name. But you'd love to know what some of those
Much
conversations were in the background, wouldn't you?
Yep.
To be a fly on the wall in some of these walls.
Yep. All right. So this next one, Ozzy Osbourne. Is it any surprise that the Prince of Darkness would be on this list?
Well, I mean, it's not that he's on this list.
No.
To that question, it's not a surprise that he's on this list at all. No. But again, you got people like Marilyn Manson as well who have a persona. Now,
Right.
Is it just a persona? Who knows? I mean, I look at Ozzy and I go, yeah, I could believe it. I could believe it. Those poor bats, But
yeah,
I stepped on a bat. What do we say about Ozzy? Like, if there was someone who kind of personified the possibility of this being true,
he's the dude.
He's the guy. He's the dude.
He's the dude for it. So it says Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne is so notorious for his connections to the occult that his nickname, Ozzy Prince of Darkness, was even made the name of his solo studio album. Osbourne's personal connection to the devil is well documented, as he has been open about it throughout his career. In 1984 issue of Hit Parader, Osbourne said, I really wish I knew why I've done some of the things I've done over the years. Sometimes I think that I'm possessed by some outside spirit. A few years ago, I was convinced of that. I thought I truly was possessed by the devil. I remember sitting through The Exorcist a dozen times saying to myself, yeah, I can relate to that. In another issue, he stated, I don't know if I'm a medium for some outside source. Whatever it is, frankly, I hope it's not what I think. Satan. He also practically admitted that he made a deal himself, saying, I already have, well, you sell your soul to the devil when you do something yourself that you shouldn't, and I already have. I fucking live my life to the fullest. If there's an afterlife, I've got a good fucking spot in the furnace,
Ooh, wow. Well, for me, I just personally want to say The Exorcist scared the living shit out of me because I was a kid when I watched it.
I was going to say, weren't you forced as a child?
I was only a child. I shouldn't have been watching it. My brothers had it on and I was there. So anyway, still scares the hell out of me. But how scary is that to watch The Exorcist and go, yeah, I can relate to that. Oh, yeah. Oh, no thanks. And I mean, well, he says it himself, doesn't he? Made a deal with the devil. There you go. Self-admission. He sort of alludes to not knowing really what it is at least in the 1984 interview there, but I think he knows what it is. I think he knows what happened.
Well, the thing is, it could be that. It could be a little bit of something going on in the wiring of the brain.
Yeah.
That would create that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the deal with the devil. It could be, I don't know, Ozzy.
Drugs.
The drugs.
Screw you. Could be that old whitey stuff,
Yeah, but because honestly, much like Keith Richards, he should be dead.
Yes. There's another one. Thank you. Yes. When did we mention Keith? In the last one? I think we mentioned that in the last episode.
Yeah, last one, yeah.
But we were talking about in that last episode all the people at the 27 Club and people who passed away and all the drugs and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was the question we asked. Why, if that was the case, if drugs just does this to everybody, then why is Keith Richards still here?
Yeah.
Same with Ozzy Osbourne. Same with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. it permanently affected his brain. Permanently.
Yeah.
He's never coming back.
No.
Ozzy left the building ages ago.
He did. I feel like he might have left the planet as well.
Yeah, well, but good on him. Good on him for keeping going, keeping on trucking.
Yeah, he did his thing. He's doing his thing. And for me, I want to preface this all as well, or put like a little umbrella over all this too. I'm no fan of like evil, bad things, all of that stuff. But if people want to believe in things and do things and have their own kind of belief systems, and it doesn't hurt anybody else, then I don't care. That's cool.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me at all. As long as everybody lets me believe what I believe as well.
Right.
And leaves me alone about it. But as long as it's not hurting anyone, that's the key. As long as no one's getting hurt.
Yeah. And someone believing in something isn't hurting anybody. As long as you said, as long as you're not forcing it or trying to force it or telling someone that they're a horrible human being because they don't believe what you believe, everyone should be fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone is right. When it comes to what they believe in, everyone is right.
Yeah, exactly. And
it does not matter.
And who are we to try and change what people believe?
Yeah.
Let's ask questions. That's my thing. That's our thing. Like, just ask questions. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Rightio. So from Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness, I'm going to move down to a rapper, actually. Someone in the modern era. J to the Z. Now, I don't know if he's East or West Side, but either way, we're going to have a little chat about it. You're welcome. Jay-Z. World famous rapper Jay-Z has battled connections to the Illuminati, an infamous secret society allegedly possessing unknowable power throughout much of his career. This is partly due to the fact that Jay-Z has referenced the devil in his music multiple times, including one song simply named Lucifer. His music videos are also filled with seemingly occultist symbolism and imagery, including Jay-Z wearing clothes with the famous satanic phrase, "Do what thou wilt." And we heard that before from a Mr. Led Zeppelin band member and Aleister Crowley. Some of his past merchandise has also been decorated with the satanic pentagram and the all-seeing eye. Even hip-hop artist MC Hammer believes Jay-Z made a Faustian bargain. Ooh. Well, there's a little bit here. So, lots of artists.
MC Hammer he went to the priesthood. Like he's a minister, right? I believe.
I don't want to speculate. I believe
he's in the church somehow.
Okay.
So he lost all his money. So I don't know. I got questions. Why is he chiming in on this?
Yeah,
MC Hammer to Jay-Z. Like,
I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him pop into any of Jay-Z's videos and be like, "Hammer time, ding." You know, I haven't seen that happen. Maybe it should though. That'd be cool.
That would be. It would be something to see.
But like, I wanted to say, lots of entertainment people have used like Lucifer, the devil, like things like that to popularize themselves and use it for just that reason alone, whether there's any deeper connection. I will say that. You know, there is a lot of symbology around that people either don't know what it is, what it means. It just gets flashed around everywhere. And even a lot of it too, talking about the Illuminati. I mean, the Illuminati was created in the 1700s. It's not like an ancient thing. It's created in the 1700s based on a bunch of, you know, a pagan and other esoteric beliefs and things like that, mostly to do with the devil and worshipping the devil. But I also want to add in there that the all-seeing eye is not, by and large and in itself, an evil thing. It's something adopted by the Illuminati, but it is not an evil thing in itself.
No. We all have one.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Right there. We all have one. So it's just what you can see with it is pretty, you know, once it's open, you see beyond. And to a lot of people, that is devil worship. It's the devil's work.
But who told us it's devil worship?
Church.
Right. Exactly. even though, and in other episodes, I'm sure to come, we will talk some more about this. But even though the church adopted many pagan rituals, customs, symbols, all of those things for themselves. So, but Jay-Z, I mean, it's an interesting one, and this is a new one, like a one in recent history. So I would say to people, go check out some of the stuff, see what you see how you feel about it. I mean, it's not up to us to say anything about it, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. But go and watch some of it. See if you notice it now. See if you see anything untoward in there.
Yeah. And are you seeing symbols more and more? Like, are you seeing the same thing over and over again? That seemingly seems like nothing, but put together in a clump with other people, could it be something? Could it be something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the guy that we watched on Gaia talking about symbols and stuff. We call him Grandpa because he's...
Oh, geez, what's his name? Besides Grandpa. Because
I'm thinking maybe we should just put that in the description, just as a bit of extra info. Like, just put him in there and some of what he talks about, because it's very interesting to do with symbols and the history of symbols. So might just give people another point of view. But hey, is there anything else you wanted to add with this list of people who potentially sold their souls?
No, I don't, because it was a pretty extensive list. Some of them you're like, well, I see it. And other ones you're like, well, I think that was just an easy cop out for certain people, places, and things. But at the end of the day, I think it's very easy for us as mere randos to say these people are famous, they're rich, they're famous, they have the world at their fingertips. It's easy for us to say, well, I don't have that, and I'll never have it, so they must have done something to get it.
Yeah.
It is very easy for us to turn that on. Is it a jealousy thing? Is it me protecting my own ego to say, well, I'll never sell my soul to the devil, so I don't have, I'll never have that.
Of course. Well, you could apply that to every example, and you're so right. Thank you for pointing that out. Like, I could say, old mate next door, he's got bigger feet than me. Well, he must have sold his soul to the devil. He's got bigger feet. Yeah,
because we all know what that means.
Exactly, big hands. So, but it's a great point. Like, you could just use that as a cop out for everything. But I'm so curious to hear what everybody else who watched, listened, heard us discuss this interesting topic today thinks about all of this. So let us know in the comments section. Let us know over on Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. And of course, as always, have a bloody amazing day.
Yeah, have a great one.